They say that magic comes with a price. So what kind of price will Doctor Strange pay when he resurrects the entire city of Las Vegas? What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is iRate Reviews, the show where I go over a comic book, its story, its art, give you my impressions, and let you know whether it's something you should go back to the comic book shop for or not. Make sure you subscribe to get more of these every single week. The book that I want to talk about is Doctor Strange Damnation #1, which combines Nick Spencer and Donny Cates on a story about the burnt-out husk of Las Vegas that's resurrected by Doctor Strange after the events of Secret Empire. So we found Mephisto has taken a hold of all of Las Vegas after it was destroyed inside Secret Empire and has been having a really great time, but Doctor Strange comes along and screws that up for him by bringing the city back to life. So for anyone that was reading Secret Empire or that wasn't reading Secret Empire, we get a little bit of an insight into what happened inside Las Vegas during that event, where we see the Hydra Dreadnoughts going through and just absolutely wrecking everybody. And this is brought about by a memorial service regarding the remembrance of Las Vegas and what happened there. This is interrupted by Doctor Strange. He comes in, and after having a battle with Loki, Sorcerer Supreme, regaining the title of Sorcerer Supreme and being empowered by the World Tree from Asgardia, it becomes a situation where Doctor Strange is looking to correct mistakes that could have happened or that were trespassed while he was trapped in the darkness in New York City, something he could have corrected. So he reaches down into the earth, grabs the best of the magic that he has, and then slowly rectifies and rebuilds the entirety of Las Vegas without an issue. Restoration, renewal, resurrection. You know, the sweat drips off his brow as we see the Las Vegas Strip kind of back into its entirety, and all the people that were once lost are no longer lost. They're now here. They're alive again. They're reunited. You got a small child reuniting with his mom, and people are, you know, like the heroes are concerned for Stephen Strange because this kind of magic has a huge price. It has a huge cost on the user and the world around it. But Stephen is very much, he's just excited to be, you know, Sorcerer Supreme again and be able to contribute in the way that he wants to. As these families are reunited, a giant rumble erupts from the ground, and we see the resurrection or the actual construction of what can only be described as a demonic casino with fire raging from the top of it and horns and black visages that are on it, and it looks absolutely ridiculous in Rod Rice's art. This is just such a cool look to this entire story. It's not necessarily hyper detailed. There are some certain situations where you get some detailed aspects. It's very much playing with filters. You know, you've got this depth of field that happens, especially when you're talking about some of the more interior scenes. The character designs are strong. The lines and the shading are relatively subtle. They don't necessarily have hard sections where it's showing this kind of detail, but it works very well for the type of story that they're telling. It almost seems like it's coming out of a tapestry or a storybook, some sort of history. But we see that Doctor Strange is ready to take on this situation because he knows who's going to be running this show. And while there's ogres and demonesses and all kinds of people that are in here, you know, ringing slot machines and playing craps and that kind of stuff, the man behind the scenes is Mephisto. So he's really excited because Stephen Strange is quite the celebrity endorsement for his casino, but it really becomes a situation where we're going to be talking about how this came to be. We're getting the background on Damnation from the middle of the book pretty much towards the end, where Mephisto is playing the victim. How can he not be, you know, the victim of this? Because after Secret Empire, after Las Vegas was basically shuffled into hell in its entirety, and he had the opportunity to torture all these souls and play all these games, create this casino so that way he could, you know, like have so much fun with all the sin that's coming in there, these untold millennia, and then all of a sudden, Doctor Strange comes and takes his fun away. So while he could do without the kind of commercialization that really happens, it's all about what really is going to go on, because Mephisto, of course, has a plan. Las Vegas is the city of sin, after all, and as these youths drive by smashing bottles of champagne next to people, you see these prostitutes and ladies of the night and all this kind of stuff. People here are meant for sin. Doctor Strange sits in the penthouses. We get more backstory. You see the person that's just like, hey, if I could die tomorrow, might as well have a hookup today. Or the man that thought that his debts were paid off because he was dead, getting smashed up by some enforcers from the mob. People that are about to perpetrate some sort of crime, robbing a store. You know, these things are all consequences. These sins they're something that they're going to pay for. And as Doctor Strange picks up this gold bar and these $100 bills, their souls trapped in the monetary kind of excess that they are perpetrating. And the sins are small too. The sins can get down as small as, hey, we forgot to pay the parking meter, and because he was perpetrating that sin, he's still damned, and he's still been captured by Mephisto. So all these things are taking place. Las Vegas is turning into not just the city of sin, but a little piece of hell on earth itself. And Doctor Strange is only going to abide this by so long. He is here to resurrect the city of Las Vegas. He is here to correct things, to bring them back to life, not necessarily have Mephisto have a portal into the mortal realm and be able to capture souls at will. So Mephisto, being a gambling man, is like, hey, let's play a game. And while the heroes that are out there debate, you've got Thor, you've got Sam Wilson's Falcon, you've got Captain Marvel, you've got Black Panther, Hawkeye, Doctor Strange and Mephisto are setting the terms for what's going to be the battle to decide the fate of Las Vegas and how things are going to move forward. So as the game starts up, we actually get a phenomenal transformation which turns all of these former Avengers or Avenger characters, Thor, Black Panther, Falcon, Captain Marvel, and Hawkeye, into what can only be described as walking Ghost Riders, which is super cool. As Mephisto says, remember, Doctor, there's a rule. The house always wins. But that's not the end there, because what we do is we go to Wong, and Wong, who's been kind of disassociated from Stephen Strange for quite some time after the excessive use of magic, sees bats on his doorstep, this ghostly astral dog that was created by Loki, so that way Doctor Strange has what he needed in his friend. He goes and he finds Wong, and then they take a look through this magic cauldron to see exactly what's going on with Doctor Strange and what kind of excessive, irrational, and kind of impulsive behavior he's gone through, which they both know is relatively common for Doctor Strange. But now we see the assemblage of the team. What is going to be there to combat these new Ghost Rider versions of these former Avengers? So you've got Blade, you've got Moon Knight, you've got Man-Thing and Brother Voodoo, you've got all these different characters that are going to be tying into Doctor Strange Damnation, which looks to be a fantastic story about the interaction between the magical, mystical, and Mephisto. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. I don't necessarily think that there are going to be consistencies in terms of the art. It just seems like too much of a project for one person to be working on continuously in order for it to work out. So there's going to be tie-ins into Ben Reilly's Scarlet Spider, you're going to have tie-ins to Iron Fist, and a number of other different books are going to be having tie-ins to this. Of course, the Doctor Strange book is going to tie in as well, and then you've got Doctor Strange Damnation, the main story arc, which is going to be inside the main book. But as far as Doctor Strange Damnation, I think that the varying art styles could possibly cause some issues with the storyline, depending on who is drawing what and how they represent the characters. But overall, I feel like the story has a phenomenal amount of potential with a character that we haven't really seen a lot of outside of Brian Michael Bendis' infamous Iron Man with Mephisto. As a character that's basically the embodiment of death, or the representation of death inside the Marvel Universe, he's always an interesting character to work with because his motivations can be so wild. I'm really excited for Damnation, but I want to know what you guys think too, so hit me up in the comments down below and we can start that conversation. As always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.